Hi guys, welcome to Azure Content. This is part 7 in Mapping Data Flow Scenarios playlist. In this video, we are going to learn how to convert a JSON record into nested JSON using Mapping Data Flow. So let's see what our requirement is. So in this video, we want to learn how to convert a JSON into nested JSON and then how to merge multiple JSON records into single record. So let's understand the use case. So we have this as the source data. It is an array which has lots of JSON. Okay, so it's basically an array of JSON. Okay, so how do we know that this is a JSON? Because it has key value pair. Okay, it has records in the form of key and value. Okay, and it has been enclosed within this curly bracket. Okay, now what do we want is we want to achieve two requirement. Okay, first one is that we want to convert each of this JSON into nested JSON. If you see the output, so these properties like sequence number, description and serial number, which is these three properties, okay, these three has been enclosed within one JSON, okay, and which is a part of this parent JSON. Okay, so which means we have to perform some transformation that will convert these three properties into a child JSON. Okay, this is one thing, and then what we want to achieve is we want to convert multiple records into single record, which means we want to group these records based on some field like item number and barcode, because you see till these three records, these properties like item number and barcode are having same value. Okay, these three have same value and these three have same barcode. Okay, so we want to merge it into single record. If you see, this is a single record, okay, which has a common item number and a common barcode. Let me clear this to make you understand. Okay, so yeah, so inside this item list it has, if you see, this is one JSON, okay, then this is second JSON and this is third JSON. Okay, so it means three records have been merged into one based on item number and barcode. Similarly, these four records have same item number and same barcode, so it will be merged into one record. Okay, so this is what we want to achieve. Let's go to the ADF and try to implement the same. So I have already uploaded the source file in the ADLS. Okay, so here is the source data. Now we want to create the data flow to achieve our requirement. Okay, I have already turned this data flow debug option. So let me add the source transformation, and here let me create a data set pointing to the ADLS Gen2 account where our file is in JSON format. Okay, so let me select the linked service and let me select the file path. Okay, so so this is our file multi2 single record.json. So let me hit on OK. So our data set is ready. Now we have to select which kind of JSON we are using. Okay, inside this JSON setting we have to select the document form. So in our case it is array of documents. Okay, so now let me do the data preview. So the source data is visible now. So you can see it is coming like row and column format, so which means the data is already flattened. We don't need to flatten it. Okay, now we want to merge these three columns into a single column, okay, which will be of array type, because if you see the output, it should be contained within a column called item list. This we need to create, and within that array column we need to have these three subcolumns, which is sequence number and description and serial number. Okay, so let's try to achieve that. So how do we create any new column? There is a transformation called derive column transformation. Okay, so we have already talked about it in our previous video. If you haven't watched my previous videos, I would recommend you to watch it. Okay, so now the column name which we want to create is in the output you can see this item list is the new column that we want to create. Okay, so I'll give the column name as item list. Okay. Now in the expression we have to, what we have to do is we have to create sub columns, right? Sequence number and description and serial number. So here you can see there is an add option, and here we can add a new column, or we can add a sub column, or we can add column pattern. So in our case we need to create sub columns which will be present within this item list property. Okay. So let me hit on add sub column and give the name as, the first name will be sequence number. Okay, let me give sequence number. Okay, similarly I will try to add another sub column called description, right? Description. Okay, similarly let me try to add third column which is serial number. So let me give serial number. Okay, yeah. So if I hit on item list, here you can see it already built the expression. We did not write this code, right? Okay, so now these will be the name of those sub columns. Okay, and what will be the value? The value we need to select it from the input schema. Okay, either we can go inside this tab, input schema tab, or it will be present under all section also. Okay, so let me go inside this input schema, and here you can see all the columns which are present in the source data are coming. Okay, so we have to use these three as the value, right? For sequence number, let me click here and select sequence number. Similarly for description, equal to is missing, let me give equal to and hit on description. Okay, now on serial number, let me click on serial number. Okay, now let's check the data, how it looks. So the data is visible now. You can see these columns were already present: item number, barcode, sequence number, description and serial number. These 5 columns were already present. Now the 6th column got added, which has these 3 columns contained inside that. Okay, so you can see these 3 columns and these 3 columns are having same values. Okay, now basically we want to convert this item list, which is of JSON kind, we need to convert it into array. Okay, so if you remember from our previous video, if we want to convert anything into array or any column into an array, we have to use collect function, right? So we will use that to convert this item list column into an array, and also we want to merge multiple records into single record based on this item number and barcode. Okay, so these 3 should be accommodated in single record, and these 4 records should be converted into one record. Okay, so there should be only 2 records after the transformation we apply. So we need to use aggregate function, aggregate transformation. Okay, and we will come to this group by later. Let's go to the aggregate tab, and here our column name is same, right? Item list. That's what we want to have as the array column. Okay, item list. Now in the expression we will make use of collect function, and inside this let me select the newly generated column, which is item list. Okay, so we are good there. Now let's go back to group by. We want to group the data based on 2 columns. One is item number, if you see, item number, and then barcode. Okay, so let me add another column which is barcode. Okay, so now let's preview the data. So you can see item number, barcode is coming as usual, and 3 columns got converted into one column called item list, which is of array kind, and inside this you can see the first row is having 3 items of array. Okay, if you see, and inside that we have 3 columns: sequence number, description and serial number. Okay, why there are 3 items here? Because 3 records having item number as 9011817, which got converted into 1. Okay, similarly these 4 records have same item number 9011818 and same barcode, those got converted into single record. So that's why there are 4 items of array here. Okay, in this row. So now we can use sync transformation. So let me create a new dataset for our sync, which will point to our ADLS account, and the data will be stored in JSON format. So let me select the link service and let me point to the output container, okay, or output folder. So now also one thing we need to do is we need to select this output to single file and set single partition. Here we will give name as output multi to single record dot JSON. Okay. This is the name we want to give to the file. Now let's create a pipeline and try to run this data flow. Okay, let me hit debug. Now let's wait for the execution to be completed. So the data flow execution is completed. Now let's go to the output folder and let's check if our data is coming properly or not. Okay. So now you can see item number, barcode are coming as a separate column, and all the other columns are contained inside item list array. Okay, and we have 2 rows, which means multiple records got converted into single record. Okay, similarly these multiple records got converted into second record. Okay, so we achieved this using derived column transformation and also aggregate transformation. Okay, so just one more thing I want to share is, let me go back to the data flow. Actually we achieved this requirement using 2 transformations. One is derived column and the other one is aggregate, right? So we could have achieved it using just the aggregate function or aggregate transformation. Let me delete this derived column transformation and let me go to the aggregate transformation, and here in aggregate tab, if I go to the expression builder, because this item list is not present, this is throwing error. Okay, so what we could do is, inside this aggregate transformation expression itself, we can create our subcolumns. Okay, let me hit on continue, and here we will give all those 3 columns, which are sequence number, description and serial number. Okay, so let me give sequence number and then description and then serial number. Okay, now let me hit on item list, and here we will select our column values. Okay, sequence number, description and serial number. Okay, and if you remember, this is the same code which we used in derived column transformation earlier. So now here we can have this code within collect function itself. Okay, within collect function we will have this as the argument. Okay, so now let's check the output. So you can see it's coming similar to what we achieved earlier using derived column and aggregate transformation. So it has similar data. Okay, so basically what we learned in this video is, inside the aggregate transformation also we have the option to add new column and subcolumns as well. Okay, and we need to use collect function to convert columns into array. Okay, so that's it guys, hope you liked the video. Please subscribe the channel if you haven't done it, and keep supporting this channel. Thank you.